What's up? This is Patrick of Radicards.com, and in this video I'll be talking about my experience at the September 8th through 11th, 2022 Dallas Card Show. Now, this show has changed a little bit over the past, I'd say year and a half, and I've noticed that a lot of the guys who were in the hobby, these new people who came in over the last year and a half, 2 years, who were big on investing. A lot of that's kind of subsided. I think it's because there are a couple reasons for that, at least in my observation. Minimal card chat from Gary Vaynerchuk, downturn in the crypto market, inflation, and things opening back up post-COVID. So like jobs and social events and things. And so people's attentions spans are now redirected toward other things besides cards. That being said, there's a lot fewer of these crews of people with, video and audio and stuff following behind various people with deep pockets. I saw a lot less of that this time. There are still a few, but I mean, whatever, it's fine. What I've noticed though is that the huge sale prices that were in the stratosphere just, 12 months ago are now back down to earth, and with even more room to go even further down. Still not quite where we were pre-pandemic, but things are a lot cheaper now than they were just a year ago. So at least there's that. The market still has a lot of entrepreneurial patrons, and that's a good thing because the market exists because that group exists. If people didn't sell anything, then nobody would be buying anything, and the hobby wouldn't exist. So I appreciate that there are still people who are in the hobby to buy and sell. I'm a buyer. I'm a collector, as you know. It's just always what I've done. I've sold a little bit over the years, but I prefer just to buy and hold just for my own collecting. So anyway, let's talk about what I got at this show. This show, I came with a thinned out budget because I've sunk so much money into my business recently with restocks and things, and new products and things like that. But I wanted to see how far I can stretch a small budget, a very thinned out budget for this show. So I brought about half of what I usually bring, and I made it work. And I even came out with extra money to spare. So the 6 cards I'll be talking about, I got all of them all together for less than $21, which is awesome. So we'll jump right into it here. I'd say the last year I've been taking interest to low grade slab, graded cards of Hall of Famers and star players. And when I find them, I'm unwilling to pay above a certain price for these because they're not that valuable to me. They don't mean that much to me. If I'm unable to get them for $1, I probably won't buy them because I don't need them in the collection. But if I can get it for $1, if they're throw-ins for a lot from other stuff I'm buying from the seller, like if I bring him, a stack of stuff and that card's in it, usually that card is just thrown in. So this one here is a 1992 Pinnacle Nolan Ryan. I saw this at a guy's booth. He wanted $2. He had $2 sticker on it. I'd come up to him with a stack of stuff from his booth. And for that stack, it was $15. And I asked him, I was like, well, what did you price the Ryan? He's like, I just threw it in. I was like, well, I blog. Is it okay if I said I got it for $1? He's like, I don't care what you do. Of course. So I could say I got it for $1, but calculating everything through, it was $15 for the lot. And so I just take this as a throw-in Nolan Ryan card. Again, slabbing is expensive. This has the subgrades, and currently BGS charges $35 to slab something with subgrades. This is a 10-cent Nolan Ryan card. It's really not. I don't know why anybody would waste their time and money slabbing a Nolan Ryan card from 1992. It just doesn't make any sense. But better in my collection than just sitting in a bargain bin box because I'll appreciate it and put it in a video like this. So you have it. This is the 1992 Pinnacle Nolan Ryan BGS 8. Moving on, I just did my normal serpentining. I didn't really do it until Saturday though. Friday I did the Starlight room on Friday and I did big room on Saturday, and I bounced back and forth on Sunday. And found a guy in the Starlight room I had purchased from previously. Nice fella. He always has interesting things. And he had this Todd Walker 1993 tops traded BGS 9.5 with all 9.5 subgrades. I've always wanted a high grade example of this card, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, how much? And he's like, okay, well, $10. I was like, that's fine. So I paid 10 for this. And in '97, I went to a show and I discovered a lot of the cards in the '93 Topps traded set. It was the Todd Walker, the Todd Helton, the Dustin Hermanson, and the AJ Hinch. Those were the 4 cards I learned about that day. And I acquired a few of them at that show. That was 25 years ago. Now here we are all these years later, and I pick up a high-grade example of Todd Walker. Did not have a Hall of Fame career, but he was most known for his time on the Twins, but he was traded all about after the late 90s. He'd been on a series of teams. And, he made his money, whatever. He had a long career, so good for him. But he's one of the more affordable cards in this set. There are a lot of great cards in the '93 Topps traded set, a lot of stars, Hall of Famers and things. And so, anyways, glad to get this. This is a great card. So then I did bargain bin digging like I always do. And I always come up with interesting things. I got a lot more than what is featured in this video, but these are the highlights of my show experience. So I dug around in 10-cent bin, and I pulled out like a brick of cards. I paid I think $10 for probably 130 cards. And in it was this Chipper Jones 1997 New Pinnacle Spellbound promo. Now what differentiates this from the non-promo is the clipping, the corner clipping on the top there. These were really only made available through Pinnacle promo binders. What Pinnacle did is they made a binder featuring a lot of different cards from their catalog, and they clipped the corners to differentiate them from the base so that people knew that that's what came out of the promo binder. So some people bought the promo binder and they isolated the cards and sold the cards separately. That's common practice when you see a block of cards together like that. So I was glad to get this for 10 cents. I mean, I obviously calculated 10 cents, even though I paid $10 for much more than 100 cards. So I'm just going to leave this at 10 cents. This would have been a good find even in the dollar box. So I was glad to get that. This is kind of a fun thing to add to my small Chipper Jones collection. I started collecting, PCing him back in '91. A little bit of PC. I don't PC him like Frank Thomas, but I have a player section of his, like any other player, like Nolan Ryan, Ripken, Piazza. I have little player sections in a box, and this just goes in there in a penny sleeve. So moving on here, these next 2 cards were acquired from one of my favorite local business people. Sticking around, and I saw this Fergie Jenkins card, and I hadn't seen this card before. Usually what I'll do is I'll go research it like that night or whatever, but I had a busy weekend, and so I took a picture of it, and then I ran it by my buddy Rich to give us something to talk about the following day. I was like, hey, Rich, I didn't get a chance to research this, but of course I will. Off the top of your head, what is this from? So this was a stadium giveaway. This is Fergie Jenkins 2001 Topps 50th anniversary, and the print run on this is to 30,000. Obviously, if it's a stadium giveaway, the yield on attendance at a stadium can be 30,000, upwards of 50,000. And so some people didn't get this card in the stadium that day if they had a higher attendance rate than 30,000. On the back of this card, there's a small strip of gold, metallic gold along the bottom edge, and that's where the print run is stamped. It's really quite something. I mean, given the dimension of this card, it's in this bag. What I do is I store them in Card Saver 1 style cases, and I sleeve them with my Card Saver 1 fitted bags, and then that in itself goes into a 4-pocket page in my jumbo binder, just so I'm not folding anything over on the top, just to keep it as factory intact as possible. This was cool. I got this for $5, marked down from $10. It was one of several cards I'd purchased from that dealer that day. I was glad to get this. Kind of a fun, interesting, unique thing to have. Usually when I don't see something, like I hadn't seen it before, I'm interested in it. Because I see so much stuff. The price has to make sense, right? I wouldn't pay $25 for this. But 5 to 7 is about what they're worth when I do research on them now. Like the buy it nows, like some for 10, some for 8. And so I after doing a little bit of research on it myself, I realized that I paid about market for the card. They're really good about pricing, this group of people. They really know their stuff. So, I mean, I get bargains from them all the time, but mostly they know what they're doing, like right on money. It's hard to be perfectly aligned all the way across the board when you're dealing in volume. You know, some are going to fall through the cracks, and then some are going to be overpriced. That's just how it is. But mostly they're pretty on it. So I grabbed that. I was happy to get this Fergie Jenkins 2001 Topps 50th anniversary. So next on the list here was also acquired in the same block with the Fergie. This is the Randy Johnson 2007 Artifacts, Divisional Artifacts, limited to 130. Now this card comes from a set that I really like. Artifacts is just fantastic. The designs are great. Upper Deck did a great job with them in the like mid to late 2000s. I don't really go after like random relic stuff. It doesn't really do anything for me. It all looks the same. But the Artifacts, I think, are just beautiful cards, and they scan well, as you can see. I wanted to scan this one instead of just taking a picture with my iPhone because it's just such a beautiful card. I think all the base and inserts and insert sets for Artifacts for all the years are just very, very attractive cards. And Randy Johnson, he's fantastic. I'm a fan of Randy Johnson. So I looked at it as like, I like Artifacts. I like Randy Johnson. I'll set this one aside. So I grabbed this one. This was $5, right? So we're up to $20.10 so far. All right. So got the Randy Johnson 2007 Artifacts, Divisional Artifacts, limited to 130 for $5. All right. Last on the list here. This card was found in a 25-cent bin. And I couldn't believe it because it just seems like it should be worth more than 25 cents. And I spoke to the seller, bought from him many times in the past. Super good dude. I always go to his booth like as soon as I jump in the big room. And I buy from him first, and then I go about my business. He's always the first guy I see. So this is a Gary Sanchez 2018 Panini Spectra Neon Green to 49. These are really thick cards. They're beautiful, though. They have that like 98 PMG kind of design to them. I just think they're really awesome. When I saw this, I was like, dude, 25 cents for this? He's like, yeah, it's not worth putting in a top loader because the top loader and the penny sleeve is worth more than the card. I'm like, that's crazy. This is not a cheap product. That's what I was thinking in my head. So I was like, well, I've set that aside. This would be a good scan if I wanted to talk about the set or something. If I ever blog about the set, and this would be like an image I could use. So I scanned it in, and this is what I have. Even the picture in the blog post, I have a picture of like the whole spread of all 6 cards. And you can see that this design just kind of pops off the page. Really cool stuff. Beautiful set. Really beautiful. For $0.25. So gnarly. I was really happy to get this for $0.25. It's so funny. It's got a bunch of cool stuff in the quarter bin. I couldn't buy it all. I bought some of it, though. There's some great stuff in there. You kind of have to have a focus and stick to it and be ardent with your pursuit of your focus and not deviate from it. Otherwise, you spend money on just stuff, and your collection is just a hodgepodge of just stuff. So you have it. This is the Gary Sanchez 2018 Panini Spectra Neon Green Parallel to 49. I got that for 25 cents. So in total, $20.35 for all 6 cards. It's still cheaper than having one card slabbed by BGS, no subgrades. That would be $25. That doesn't account for tax and shipping and all that other fees that go into it. So really happy to get these cards. These are great. I had a good time at this show. This is just such a fun thing that I go to multiple times a year. The card market in Dallas, I think, is the most robust in the country. I mean, Florida has a good thing going on, and there are other parts of the country that do card shows frequently. But even when I'm at these shows, I take pictures of flyers of various shows going on around the like proximity of Dallas on top of the Dallas card show. I mean, it's constant. It's all the time. It's really cool. I like that a lot. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that review of my pickups at the September 8 through 11, 2022 Dallas Card Show. Which one of these did you like the most? Was there one that you thought was a good buy or a better buy, or maybe you have some comments to share? I'd love to hear your comments in the comments section. Thank you for tuning in to Radicards TV on Radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick Greeno, and until next time, enjoy collecting. If you like this content, please subscribe. Thanks. Enjoy collecting.